Good evening, everyone. Myself, Ritesh, Director of Digital HR, and we welcome to everyone for attending today's webinar on HR agility driving superior employee experience and business sustainability. So before I'm moving ahead, many of you know about digital HR. Still will take a few seconds to give the update about digital. Digital HR is a leading community for the HR professionals aiming for digital transformations and innovations in HR practices. Recently, we have organized a webinar on the various industry specific like e-commerce, fintech, healthcare, and pharma. And the aim and the objective is to share the knowledge to the HR professionals and HR fraternity. We do also organize various master classes and workshops for the HR fraternity, as well as we have one editorial part where we do publish the articles, blogs, and the stories of the HR leaders. So this is all about digital HR, and we have our supporting partner ASMA, who is our academic partner. It's an academic community that support us, as well as we have a COBUS, who are our employer branding partner, who support us for this particular webinar, and InnoSource Solutions, who is our learning partner, who support us. So thank you so much to our partners for organizing this webinar. So if you talk about today's topic on HR agility driving superior employee experience and business sustainability, which will be delivered by today, industry stalwarts from the HR fraternity, from the variety of industries like automotive, manufacturing, real estate, constructions, as well as on the IT side. So seeing the subject, if we see in today's today's scenario of the pandemic and kind of a scenario of work from home and hybrid culture, it is very important to understand how HR professionals roles become important and great contributor for the business sustainabilities. Okay, so as we have a leaders from the variety of the verticals, and insightful learnings, especially in the best practice, this aspect of business continuity along stages. Role of transformational leader, upgrading employee for better customer service and customer experience. How the digitization is really helpful for the employee engagement strategy, as well as the adoption of new dimension technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learnings, and how it's become important, employee happiness, candidate experience. These are the very important aspect that I'm sure we're gonna get great learning, and we'll be having a very interactive sessions from the stalwarts that we are having today. And so we'll not take much of time, and we'll hand it over to Pamela. We're gonna introduce to all stalwarts today. We are on the stage, and we really look forward for the great learning from everyone. And for the participant side, we have a chat window also during the sessions. If you have any kind of a question, queries, you please feel free to write your question and queries here, so we can address it suitably from the leader side. Thank you so much, and once again, warm welcome for today's webinar. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Pamela. You please take it over. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our eminent and established speaker for the evening. To begin with, we have ourselves Mr. Anil Gaur, the Group Chief People Officer, Uniparts Group, has an accomplished career with leading Indian and multinational groups in engineering, FMCG, life science, chemicals, and pharmaceuticals, and automotive. Throughout his career, he has worked in business-driven, fast-paced, and progressive organizations aimed at profitability through sustainable growth. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have with ourselves Ms. Archana Kumar, the Chief Human Resource Officer, ATS Infrastructure, is committed to making HR the of change, transformation, and business growth. Having acquired professional skills in human resource management, which are industry agnostic, She has displayed the influence of a strong HR-driven culture building in petrochem, IT, and real estate industries. We welcome you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Sandhya Rana, the General Manager, Human Resource at Alok Masterbatches. She is an HR professional with close to 2 decades of experience. Prior to her work with Alok Masterbatches, she was associated with German healthcare solution company B. Barun Group for over 15 years, serving in various capacities, including manager HR, business partner and talent acquisition, and assistant manager HR, admin, and L&D. We welcome you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Radhika Pant, the Director HR, Dyninno India, is an HR thought leader with more than 13 years of experience working with KPO, BPO, captive units, and humanitarian sectors. Known as a trusted advisor to the management, she drives innovative HR practices which have received much recognition and accolades. We welcome you, ma'am. Next, we have Mr. Samir Mathur, the Global HR Director, GDS AECOM. He is known for seamlessly and successfully starting up and transforming businesses, setting up new territories, greenfield countries, well thought through and power-packed HR strategies and valuable business partnerships. We welcome you, sir. And lastly, we have our moderator, Runa Maitra, with us. She is the founder and director of People Talent International, a consortium of business consultants from various domains. She has 2 decades plus experience in fintech, IT, ITES, professional services, manufacturing, and retail sectors in India, the US, and the UK. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request Ms. Runa Maitra, our moderator of the evening, to take ahead this webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to our dear participants. You have taken out time and joining us. And this is going to be, absolutely an interactive program. So we are expecting all of you to participate immensely. And before that, I would like to thank DigitalHR as a group. Rahul Jain, whom we are missing today, normally he also joins. Otherwise, the whole initiative is led by Ritesh, and we all have met Ritesh. He's doing a tremendous amount of contribution to the HR community by organizing various programs. This particular initiative of organizing webinar as a learning session month over month had been extremely successful. In the era of pandemic, if we say 2020, we started this initiative sector by sector, and we got great people in our platform, and that continues. We had a little bit of gap in terms of having a digital fatigue for some time, and we dropped out. But again, we started in last quarter, and we started deliberating on various new subjects. And very lucky to have the eminent speakers in our platform. Loads of takeaway. You can all look up, listen to our last conversations on videos, websites, which Digital HR Group keeps on publishing. And today also, most of you have joined through registration over here. Otherwise, we are very much available, through YouTube and Facebook. So we are expecting a lot of participation from all of you. And definitely, it's an opportunity to welcome my panelists, my great speakers who have committed their time today and joined us to share their views, knowledge, opinions, experience, so on and so forth, because we're going to have a lot of questions for you. But before we do that, I would definitely, kind of reflect with some book we all must have read, Good to Great by Jim Collins. And that's where I read something about great vision without great people is irrelevant. So I think that's what we are going to discuss largely when we are talking about experience of our HR speakers who are going to share, focusing on this subject subjects about being agile, how to drive superior employee experience, how to actually collaborate, being a partner in business sustainability. What we are going to do, we are going to request each one of our speaker to speak initially for at least 5-7 minutes, because you all would like to listen to them, their entire experience in their respective field. So once they do, complete their keynote, we are going to come back to you for your questions. And I also, as moderator, have up on our sleeve my few questions. So let's make it, great interactive event. So requesting Archana to begin. Yeah, are you fine with that, or do you want Anil to start? Whoever wants to start. There is no order.
Okay, so okay, I can start if it is okay with Archana.
Please
Hello.
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So Runa, I think this is a very pertinent and relevant subject in today's business context when we are looking at HR agility and driving superior employee experience. So in my perspective, the way I have looked at and got the information while working, while interacting with other professionals, that agility and employee experience, I think they're integral to business sustainability and of course, employee engagement. While when we look at agile HR practices in any organization, these enable organization and employee, they respond promptly to the changing business requirements. That could involve the workplace dynamics. Employee experience can also be instrumental in winning the business objective, because that win-win approach and culture has to be created in any business. So we all know that agility is an ability of an organization to respond to an internal and external change, and that response should be faster without allowing any of its impact to create a disturbance or hindrance to the business operation. And we also look at employee productivity, efficiency, customer satisfaction, etc., etc. I think both are integrated. Agility is important because we are also looking at how we can create a nimble organization. Therefore, the people's response, whether to the customer or to the all this other stakeholder, is very, very fast. Because the three things which are critical and important for any business to bring in sustainable business growth is the quality, delivery, and price. So the responsiveness and agility to manage the different nuances of the business is the key to success. Whether we look at the quality product, because coming from the manufacturing background, what exactly we do in manufacturing, irrespective of the sector, it is only the conversion of raw material into the finished goods. So that is all the other processes which are part of this entire process of conversion. The agility plays a very, very critical and important role. And small baby steps, small things, which are being brought to the table, they actually help the organization to make customer delight. And that brings in the business growth, and that will be definitely a sustainable business growth. So traditionally, when we used to look, that HR was associated with rigidity, right? But with the change over a period of time, what we have seen in last couple of decades, the digital transformation and employee workplace expectation are undergoing a rapid change. And in fact, we have seen the thing, how the things have changed. And HR function, or all the HR professional, like all of us here, I think we must implement agile work culture in the organization. And a lot of work has already been done in this direction. I'm not saying that, this is the beginning. Beginning has already happened. But probably periodic reviewing it and also looking at that HR function, they embrace agile practices in whatever we do in our own businesses. I think it can pave the way for flexible people processes. So when I look at the employee experience, to my mind, it should be wow employee experience. When I say, let me give you a classical example to qualify my statement. All of us, we go for shopping to various shopping malls. And what is the attraction? If we are going to buy a grocery in any of the grocery store, the big attraction or the pull factor is the extra. So 2+1, or 25% extra paste on the same price. So that extra is a attraction. Therefore, in the businesses also, that extra is very important and critical, that what extra value we are bringing to the table, to the customer as a business and to the company as an employee. And that will bring this entire journey of agility. And definitely, I think, because agility or employee experience will also help the businesses to bring in innovation, creativity, and out of the box thinking. And collectively, when there plethoras or other things we can talk about, collectively, then everything will bring the sustainable business growth. So these are my opening comments, Runa.
Very interesting. I think, especially Anil, when you talked about that extra, I think we all look for that extra. And if the way you correlated with customer service and business, in fact, you reminded me once I heard Vinit Nair talking about, should we put customer first or should we put employee first? And he actually said that he has panned in HCL from putting customer first to putting employee first. So I think this is a sheer reflection of such thoughts when you really kind of juggle between the two, but ultimately employees make it happen. Thank you for sharing such beautiful insight. I'm an earnest fan of yours, Anil. You know that. I have been listening to you for at least a couple of decades, and I had been learning from all your programs and all your videos. So thank you for joining and sharing. I have a lot of questions for you. So now I would like to go to Archana, and absolutely different perspective from Archana, because I think she spanned at a very different industry. So let's hear from Archana.
Yes, so firstly, I think it's an honor to be here because I personally feel that we get to learn so much. All of us get to learn so much from the participants, from the speakers, from the forum, and from all the learned colleagues that are here. What Anil just mentioned about agility in business, I think what we witnessed in the year gone by was what made all of us sit up and take notice that agility from being just a term became a part of our life. I mean, we had to transform ourselves overnight virtually because we were hit by something which we had never thought. We could never have imagined that there's going to be a global pandemic of the nature that we have all witnessed. So agility became the way of life for all of us as individuals and as business persons to make a transformation of the nature that we did, which is which happens probably once in a century. They say that pandemic was the biggest CTO of our times because we were all sitting deliberating as to what kind of technology we should have, and how do we move from a particular orbit of technology innovation to another. But this pandemic has pushed us, and we moved multiple orbits from where we were. Every business, every one of us, what we are witnessing right now in this platform is a result of what technology brought to us. These webinars became the buzzword during this time. So a lot changed. So agility, which happened last year, it was a colossal paradigm shift that happened because of it, brought about a huge, humongous change in the way we think, the way we behave, in the businesses that we are. What changed was this whole focus on the employee as a whole. Employee was not only limited to his presence of 8 hours, 9 hours in the office. And we started focusing on employee as a whole human being. His well-being, his health, his family, everything became very critical for us as HR. And our role expanded from being 8 hours in office to being 24 hours available for our employees, for our offices, and there was a sea change in how we looked at our people. There was a huge change in the focus that came about for the family. People were working from home, and what were the facilities that were being provided to them at home? They were not able to reach out. There was a shortfall of so many things. How do we make these supplies available to them, whether it was medicines, whether it was at times in the second wave, it was as much as even availability of food in case some family member was unwell, and how could they have managed without the parents not being there, or the woman of the house being unwell? Food was not available. So the way business, every corporate probably came forward and stepped up their HR focus on its people was tremendous. And it was the biggest test that we as HR had to face. It used to be, a people versus technology debate that used to go on. We completely shifted from people plus technology. So it wasn't an and or kind of thing. It became an and. You had to work with people, and you had to use technology to bring about that thing. So engagement, I think what we witnessed in the year gone by was of a very different nature. The engagement became very personal. It became, the focus became more on connectivity and caring. And that kind of engagement built a much stronger bond of employees with us. When they saw that the management and the company was participating in their lives in a much deeper fashion than what could have ever been envisaged. I think when we came out of it, there was a separate level of, completely different level of engagement of the people with us, and the understanding that employees had on how the well-being of the individuals and the well-being of the company was equally important. There was, for us as HR, there's a lot more focus in the coming months on both reskilling of our employees and upskilling of our employees. Reskilling because there's so many things which have gone out of focus, and we need to reskill people to keep them, employable and keep them relevant for the business that has changed completely. And upskilling because they have to move ahead to remain, the most important asset for the company. They have to retain their relevance for the organization, because now the business has to, whether we like it or not, has to become lean and has to be very focused on being profitable. Because if the ship is a sail, is when the ship can take people across. And you have to offboard a few people because you can onboard them later. If we have a full-on ship with full load and we're not able to face the storm, then nobody survives. So it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate reality that you have to offboard and then stay relevant, stay alive, continue to face the storm so that you can onboard them again very soon. So it has, I think there have been many boundaries that have got completely broken. The boundary of office is totally broken. Now you can work from anywhere. The boundaries of, the 8 hours work time has got completely broken. Now it is 24-hour office. There is this whole concept of engaging people from any part of the geography. You can hire people from any part of the geography because they can work from wherever they are. So the availability of talent, the availability of women who had dropped out of the job market because they could not leave home and be available in office is back again in focus, because their talent and their skills are equally relevant because they can work from home and participate in the job market. So I think it's been a wonderful transformation if you look at the positives that have come out of it, and the engagement and the agility and the whole focus on people as people has been personally, I feel it is a very, very positive turn, which we as HR should actually really leverage on going forward. The technology innovations, the people innovations, the policy innovations, the business transformations. we can't be sitting on the sidelines. This is our time in the sun, actually, as HR, where we have to be the strategists to turn around a lot of things that are needed now in the business, and that everybody's looking up to us. And this is the time where we need to shine out.
Thank you, Archana. I kept on listening and thought of, you should go on, because so much positivity in spite of very authentic and practical deliberation, where you talked about that when your ship can't sail with the entire population, then you need to really take a decision. And I think being from the
it's very heart-wrenching, Runa, because every person is just not a number for us as HR. It may be a number for the business, but for us as HR, it is somebody whom we very closely hired, groomed, upskilled, stayed with, and suddenly he has to leave the organization. So it really, as HR, we have to have that sensitivity and yet be business focused. So it's a sword hanging over our head. We are walking a very difficult path.
I think I loved all your insight around how you engage people, how you talked about upskilling and reskilling to keep them relevant, retain the right resources, and make it happen, make the business happen profitable. But you actually said something which reminded me that Anil was talking about, that Anil Gaur mentioned that Runa next time debate karte hain. So अभी आपने कुछ ऐसा बोल दिया कि वो डिबेट के लिए बिल्कुल लायक है. अनिल, आप अपना वीडियो ऑन कर सकते हैं. She said that HR owns all the emotions of keeping, heart-wrenching, that we have to let go people. And it's not number like business. सच में business number सोचते हैं क्या? I think they are also, as people managers, stand next to you and say, hey, I'm equally in that emotion. So मेरे को लग रहा है ये वाला तो बहुत ही एक thought provoking बात अर्चना ने बोल दिया. अनिल, आप क्या कहते हैं? Before I go to other speakers, I'm intrigued that point पे कुछ बोलना चाहिए कि नहीं?
No, partially I do agree with what Archana said, but ultimately what I have learned, 30 years back, probably this was a kind of a normal situation, and we handled a certain business situation where we decided to offload some of the people. But now the perspective has changed. In Unipart, when these things have started, the first key decision, the cardinal principle, what I decided with the chairman was that no employee will lose the job. And a kind of very quick dipstick survey was conducted that, okay, this is the problem, this is the way, we don't have any solution. So we asked the people that, why don't you come and share your solution? So the majority of the people, they responded that, okay, we are willing for a pay cut. We are willing to forego our salary, but the company is thinking in a right direction, not to decide or laying off the people. Okay, and that has given a biggest confidence. With this cue, which came directly from the people, we decided for no salary increment, rather some pay cut. This was in the month of May. But after the business result of first half, and those are the people without any incremental change in their salary, they outperformed. So again, the second decision was taken in November to roll back the salary cut. Then by the time we had a wonderful business year with excellent EBITDA margins. And in March, company has decided additional bonus to each and every employee, right? And with 12% average incremental change this year. So the point is the people power. We need to also understand and leverage the people power, not only to bring the agility, nimbleness in the organization, because they will get us the business. And that I have seen at this last 2 consecutive years, I have seen that this is the people, what we need to do them, deal with them as a people, give them empowerment. Also, which I keep on advocating, Runa, that one element which I've learned and seen the results is celebrating mistakes. Trust and confidence on people, accepting mistakes, learning from them, and then they get the wonderful business results. in
Thank
terms
you,
of
Anil. I
numbers.
think Samir, thank you so much. Samir is itching because we talked about some experience in construction and real estate industry by Archana. You actually, Anil, beautifully put the icing on the cake. But Samir is thinking, hey, it's my turn. No, let me share something completely different where he was in NatWest, BFSI, now a completely civil engineering, Samir, over to you. We are absolutely eager with your new era, new journey, new experience, and definitely you have every right to kind of, counter what Archana and Anil said. But I think most important part that how all these experiences of yours to engage employees, give, as Anil said, give vows at the same time being authentic, being practical. So let's hear from Samir, what you have to say about your experience. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Runa. In fact, while Anil was speaking and Archana was speaking, I was more thinking that I should have been one of the participants to really hear those great thoughts. But yeah, in fact, what has happened is that I joined this organization in the month of November, and as you can imagine, that was the time when the entire thing was under lockdown. So I had no other option but to join virtually. So I had my farewell virtually from the previous organization. Then I joined another organization virtually. Predominantly, nothing much has really changed because I was operating from the same desk. And then, one fine day, the organization really changed. The people changed with whom I was working. The values definitions really changed. The behavior definition, the competency definitions really changed. The industry has changed quite a bit. So I think the biggest according to me, the biggest challenge which the organizations today have is the digital transformation and organization agility. I think it's a great topic to really discuss and debate on. And I don't think anybody would really talk anything against about these challenges, because a lot has already been spoken about these two things. One of the biggest challenge, which I think Archana was talking about, was that all of a sudden this happened, and there was a huge disruption across the industry. And you can imagine the kind of agility which the organizations have really demonstrated. The organizations, whether small or large, the way they have reacted to some of those things, all of a sudden overnight work from home for everybody. This is something which is unheard of, right? Huge disruption, I would say, and it will continue to evolve. The rapid changes will continue to happen. But my point here is that the organization agility is there. It is just that how do we really trigger those emotions and trigger those thought processes and trigger those mindsets in the senior leaders, so as to ensure that they don't really wait for the situation to happen, but they really react to each and every problem, each and every situation, each and every idea in the same manner. So digital, the basic hygiene for employees, if I talk about somebody who is at a junior level, may not really have the right set of infrastructure at home, struggled quite a bit because they may not have the right set of broadband connectivity, they may not have the right tool, they may not really have a high speed, the processor, the machine which they are really using. And they may not have a space which is quite enough for them to really operate. So the first and foremost challenge which the organizations have faced is that how can we really provide the right tools and equipments to everybody at their home, and thereby ensure that they're not really struggling with those base level issues and the hygiene level issues. So that still continues. I think, I would not say that organizations have mastered it. A lot of them are still debating that should we really give laptops, or should we really keep sending the computers, desktop which they had in office. How do we really return? Should we return or not return? Those debate will continue because there's no right or wrong answer. A lot of organizations rushed very, very fast to launch the remote first policies. And a lot of them have adopted the hybrid policy saying that come to office a couple of days and then work from home a few days, and then we'll see how the world really unfolds. And then I think all of us in the HR community will see the benefits of some of those things and really start adopting. So I would say, the agility, the definition of agility, not only for HR, I think it is very important for the entire organization. Ensuring that the right set of people are hired with now different set of skills, right? The people who have cross-functional skills, the people who are able to work across geographies, the people who are able to move really fast and are able to work in smaller teams, which kind of get integrated and get disintegrated time and again based on what kind of projects that they are really happening. So, so three pillars in my view of the organization agility, and which is very true for HR as well, Runa. One of the thing is autonomy. Having more empowered workforce, having managers who can really trust the employees, and ensuring that the employees feel empowered. So giving that empowerment is one thing, but ensuring that the employees really feel empowered and provide a very, very fast solution to those problems. The second one is flexibility, and of course all of us know flexibility of work is one thing, but flexibility of structure. The structures would become flatter and flatter as we move forward. The flexibility to make decisions, the flexibility to really come up with new ideas, the flexibility of choosing their team, the flexibility of choosing their task, what they really enjoy the best. And when obviously when there is an autonomy, there is an empowerment, and there is a flexibility to take decisions at a level, then the speed is very natural. That's more of an output. The ability of the organization and their employees to really respond to the customer needs and the needs which are arising due to the problem obviously become a competitive advantage for those organizations. So I think digital transformation is one another thing which probably we can talk about probably whole night, but my only limited point is that each industry is very different. Having worked in a very different industry, I was working with Citibank for many years, and then moved to NetWest Markets for a few years, and then moved to a very, very different industry. And the world is a little different here, and I think I'm working with some very, very talented and very intelligent people who design what you call state-of-art infrastructure across the world. And one last point is that never thought that those architectural state-of-art designs can be done from home, because you need very large size printers, you need conference rooms, you need 5-10 people really debating as to how this entire infrastructure would look like. I'm talking about metro trains, talking about rail signaling, talking about waterways, tunneling, hydraulic, tunnels, and so on and so forth. But all of that has really worked out very, very well. The big challenge, which is in front of us, is how do we learn to really manage the workforce remotely, thereby ensuring that the productivity continues to increase. And what are those policy and guidelines which we can really adopt, which really works for all of us. So we're experimenting with a couple of those initiatives, which I can really talk about in the later part of this webinar. So those are my thoughts, Runa.
Fabulous. Samir, you and you're talking about the inevitable digital transformation, how not only your past organization, current organization, the world has definitely embarked upon, and it's like a complete necessity. At the same time, I really liked your point about, how you said that the challenges as an industry are facing to make it, palpable, doable as work from home scenario. I think I have a lot of questions around that how you are, get prepared. And I'm going to ask you a question around how are you really, overcoming those challenges? What are your, best practices? Probably those will be real, understandable takeaway. So I'm sure audience are looking for. But when you talked about the initiative you have taken to make it happen at home, everyone is talking about it. Anil, Archana, that the possibilities got created. Like Archana mentioned, that now women workforce has come up, but at the same time, the challenges you are facing to make it happen. I think the IT and ITS overall. I think now we can go to the next speaker who is from that actually industry. So. Radhika, I want to see you and we want to hear you that how as an industry you are the one who's enabling, considering you have that outsourcing capabilities being built for your clients and maybe for your organization. So Radhika, over to you, and we all would love to hear your experience from the industry standpoint.
Thank you so much, Runa, and good evening, everyone. Thank you, Digital HR, for bringing all of us together. And I would say it's been very interesting discussion, at least till now, hearing and learning from such experienced and eminent leaders here. While so much has already been covered, and I'll try and still bring uniqueness to this discussion. So firstly, if I talk about with my experience, I think the cookie cutter approach cannot really work if you really want to have a long-term impact, and especially with people-facing roles like ours, which is HR. I think this approach was never an option, and I think in these unprecedented times, it is actually asking us to kind of go beyond the conventional. Obviously, new things can't be created each day, so it'll be about playing with the things we were already doing, but still going beyond the conventional. And before I speak about the IT experience or how we are leveraging IT solutions, I would say no matter it's an IT company or any industry rather, I think it's more to do with managing change, and which was obviously very difficult because this was a sudden situation which came up and it was new to everybody, every industry rather. So I think in these times it was more about psychological safety of an employee than with along with multiple other factors. And how you would leverage IT there, I would say, first, it is about kind of upskilling, reskilling, and cross-skilling employees. And definitely these days, there are so many platforms wherein there are learning and development options, certification options, which can be leveraged. And being an IT organization, so we are actually not outsourcing company. We're a product-based company, and we're an IT product company and a travel, fintech, and entertainment technology company. So I think there is something we were very stable, because idea of our founder or how our company works is that we are into technology, as I said, and so it is presumed that when technology comes in, the people needs to be moved out, or people need to, the headcount needs to be cut short, but this is not how we work. For us, technology basically means having more time to spend with people or customers. So for us as HR, having AI solutions for our recruitment, AI solutions for our talent management through the life cycle, I think that gives us a little more and meatier time to spend with our employees with solutions. If I were to give an example of an AI solution during for talent acquisition, it saves a lot of time for not really to get back into that churn of spending more time to hire more people, rather utilizing that time to connect with our future employees from their offer time till their joining time. Keep a continuous connect with them, keep them updated about what's happening in the organization, what is it that they can look at when they join us. And similarly, if I talk about any AI solution, which can be used in talent management, which is employee life cycle. So one of the solutions, if I talk about, it's generally a chatbot where an employees feel a little more comfortable to write anonymously. So instead of talking with employees and spending a lot of time, which we still obviously do because that human connect is always important and very gives a insight and that connect with employees, but that having that chatbot gives us a lot of insight of what is it that we need to work on to find out more solutions and go back to employees instead of only hearing their questions and queries or concerns. It gives us saves us a lot of time to kind of collect it through a chatbot and go back with solutions. So that discussion becomes more meaty, more two-way, instead of only hearing them and saying that technical thing, which is about HR, we'll get back to you. So I think that gives us a little more time to work on solutions and go back with a more meatier discussion. So similarly, using and leveraging IT to save a lot of time in the discussions, which can be mitigated through an AI, and going back with more meatier solutions, spending more quality time, more quality discussions, and so on. So I think being IT company, we always believe that AIs not let us let go of people, but give us a more time and more quality time with our employees. And that goes for our operations team also, front-ending employees. That gives them a lot of time with their customers when with the solutions we've created for our employees, which saves a lot of time for them to spend on screen than spending with customers, talking with solutions at hand with those solutions we've created for them. So from a technology standpoint, it was very easy for us. Change management was something we had to kind of really work on, and psychological safety is what we had to kind of reassure our employees and work on upskilling, reskilling, and training them on different skills per se, for them to be sure and comfortable and assured that yes, they know now 2 to 3 skills to be more employable in the market or within the company as well. And that gives us, I would say, it's a win-win situation for employees to have that security, and for company to also leverage on it in case somebody leaves. Company also has a backup and a backup plan of using the resources, cross resources. So that's a bit in the initial part from my side, and then probably I can add in later.
Absolutely, Radhika, a very good start. And I think what I'm hearing a lot from all of you is that how you all build trust. And there was already a question, so I'm going to definitely touch upon that question. But at the same time, all of you are definitely talking about the initiatives and experience to use technology, at the same time leverage technology to give more quality time to people. I was quite intrigued because when you talked about AI, usage of AI and usage of chatbots to ensure that people are getting more employee touch or people touch, as we say. I'm going to come back to you with this question because when we started, I mean, Anil, I'm sorry, even if it's before your era, probably I had started my career. So amongst you are all young leaders here. But then when we started our career, I'm very, very lucky that I actually, when I joined the industry, the CC mail and Hotmails and automation, I remember, usage of SQL that point of time for query management. And I was in Escorts that point of time. I grew as the head of HR in Escort Finance, which was then NBFC. And we were so excited that we were talking about 360-degree appraisal assessment center using actually HR software. And the dialogue, right from our gurus like Dr. TV Rao and all the people we learned from, that, you are doing automation because you want to spend quality time. So my simple question that how after 2 decades, we have changed because we are using AIs, MLs, chatbots, robotics, etc. So I'll keep that question aside. Please mull over it. I'm sure you have an immediate answer. But Sandhya, I mean, always we say that the last one do not get enough opportunity to talk about. No, I'm knowing you. I have been with you for, probably in many such similar kind of webinars now and earlier on stage. I know you are a great speaker, so you'll bring a lot of great points for our audience. So I deliberately kept you at last. The reason I knew that you will bring a lot of unique points. Sandhya, over to you.
Thank you, Runa. Yeah, rightly said that many of the points are already being covered by the fellow speakers. We are talking about digitization. We are talking about agility. We are talking about change management. Why is it happening only now? Why is it happening with such a speed? I would say that last 1.5 years was a marathon of change management and agility. And also the topic is about employee experience. HR is the only one who's always been the first person to be responsible for the employee experience before the person even have given the interview, and then the employee life cycle starts, and even after he exits, it is our responsibility to take care of that experience. So we have to be sure that this should not be only happening as a surprise test like COVID, but otherwise also we should understand that this is our responsibility. One is this. Second is we talked earlier, it used to be a personal department. Maybe Runa, as you mentioned, about 20, 30 years back. Before that, it was admin and personal, then HR. We used to be excited about 360-degree appraisals and all. And now the time has changed so much that we are having these kind of meetings. HR is getting in front. But what about people who are not still having that access to these digital platforms? Anil would agree that and even Archana as well, that we are dealing with many people, maybe 60 or 70% of our workforce who are working into the plants and who cannot work from home. So how we are giving a good experience to those people as well who do not have this facility of being working from home. Recent years, we are reading a lot about HR as a business partner. I would say we should now move on from this HR as a business partner to employee as a business partner. Every employee should be a partner of the organization. And once they start thinking about that, one of my friends just shared that they discussed with them that what is the solution into this crisis. And they all come up with the solution that we should be going ahead with the pay cut instead of going with layoffs. So such solutions will come only when they feel that they are the owners of the organization. They are the part of the organization. So how that will start is having the right culture. If HR is going to be transparent, if HR is not just, I am going to get back to you. If that get back happens at the right time, if we told them that we are going to get back to you tomorrow by 5 p.m. and if we follow that commitment, the trust comes. And when the trust comes, they are also going to deliver a lot more. And in case if the employees are going to deliver a lot more, automatically it is going to affect the business sustainability and the output. I'm also in an organization where we are having the plants running during COVID time. On the other side, we are having salespeople who are working at field or even working from home. And on the other side, we are having people who are coming to office, maybe at times partially, at times work from home. So these three different segments do need a different kind of policies or the approach to deal with, or even to give them the experience and the safety assurance into COVID times. So that is not possible unless the HR is not agile. So this is, I would say that in case if we take care of these things, automatically we are going to partner with the business is going to be stable, and we are going to get this change management, not just as like we are all into the sinking ships and sailing through and waiting to reach to the targets or the objectives, so that we can at least come on a stage where we do not face this challenge anymore. Hotel industry been affected badly. What about the nurses and doctors who have been working into the hospitals? Are they having the option for work from home? No, they do not have. So over there, it is not the digital platforms that we need to give them or some other facilities. We need to take care of their mental fatigue, those people who are working for 20 hours in a day. So rest already covered, so I will not take much time. Runa, Thank you. And that's all from my side initially, and I'm happy to take questions later.
Definitely, Sandhya, what you brought more towards the forefront is the employee experience is not something new. It was always there as HR responsibility, very, very important point. And probably the gradation has changed, the entire correlation that how we had performed earlier and now what is our required, maybe the demand has totally changed. And especially in the old era, we used to hear that HR should come into forefront. They should be actually joining the boardroom. They should speak up as HR, as a partner. I think, as you rightly talked about, HR BP function came, but now it is a business partner is given. I think you're already in the driving seat. That's where all of you are expressing that how you've actually taken charge and you're ensuring that your people are taken care. I think that's what I heard from all of you. And I think
yes, one more thing, Runa, I will add up over here is that Archana mentioned something about layoffs and HR is the only one who thinks from the hurt. But I would say that it's not just HR, but we all, even every BU head, every department head also need to now take up the role of HR. They have to be available for their teams. So we may not be able to reach thousands of people, but if every manager, every business head takes this responsibility that I am going to be the solution provider for these soft skills or for this mental trauma that our people are going through, I think the job is done. And this is how we need to share. It is not just HR partnership. It is going to be the partnership from both the ends.
Thanks, Sandhya, for bringing it up. I think today we are all dealing with what Archana, you and all of everyone, when Sami talked about psychology and what earlier we heard psychology only to understand psychometric test, psychology test, profiling, fitting them as per the culture. But now the relationship with the mental health, now the way we are looking at human psychology is completely different. I think thanks for bringing that up again, and I think we all were discussing that. Considering some questions have come up, so now is the time. Probably I'm going to start putting across to you all few questions. So the looking at the points which you have shared, I'm going to pick up. There is no order, although few questions have come up. I'm picking the last one for Anil. Anil, I am quite intrigued that sometimes people think in manufacturing setup, especially you're from auto industry and you have also diverse experience. People normally think that, and that's probably my understanding too, that the employees have to be at plant, and the work from home scenarios are probably minimal. So I think one is that please clear the myth that how your entire people are structured. And if you are doing some engagement activity, which Nagesha wanted to know, so how is it a hybrid environment you're doing something? Is it something on the ground or for people working from home, something you're doing for their engagement, doing some events? Would you like to share some best practice?
So what we are doing at Unipart is a kind of hybrid model for corporate people and support function in the manufacturing facility. As Sandhya also pointed out, that it is not possible for all the profession, all the businesses to adopt to the hybrid or work from home kind of stuff. Somebody has asked a question that initially if the company agrees for work from home, especially at the time of new appointment, and of late the things go normal after a couple of years, whether they will call the people to work from office or factories. That is again a question that needs to be answered over a period of time. But coming back to this, so in manufacturing facility unit or for any business, there are certain activities and operation which cannot be done from home, that we do understand. But how we can make a equilibrium between that? So for that, again coming back to the workplace happiness or creating an employee wow experience. One is we do not differentiate between executive so-called white collar population and the blue collar population. Even a security guy standing at the front gate or a housekeeping guy is equally important to me. So we ensure what the change which we have brought in, other than the automation, AI, and blah blah big stuff we talk about, how we can create touch points. So it's a building HHRD. So if you remember, Runa, in the previous conversation sometime I said, given a choice, I would like to change the name of HRD into HHRD, that is heart to heart relationship development. So a guy security, it is my duty that I must greet him. I stop at the gate whenever I visit my factory, even today. And first I visit the security office and ask them that are they okay? Is everyone in family is okay? Same is the case with everyone in the shop floor. That is one. Now, the kind of hybrid model we try to work is that if somebody at an operator at my factory, his family needs him. So the people next to him, he will take the extra load. So they will collaborate, they will take, they will support each other. So this guy can attend to the work, right? And in those emergencies, we have decided, other than what government talked about 1 year back, 14 days paid leave, and this time 28 paid leave, we have not deducted any salary to anyone when the guy has a COVID patient at home. Even we have example where the people are away for 2 months, 3 months, and no question has been asked about the leave and salary. So idea is small gestures, bringing happiness on the face of people. So regular communication. So the communication is small group communication happening to the supervisors, managers, all kind of operational people. We will not be able to give them, the freedom to operate from home. It is not possible in manufacturing, but we are trying to do. So what we are doing is we are playing with the merit of the ball, as and when any specific case comes in, and there is no ready-made solution to it. But the big solution, the cardinal principle here is dealing people as people, right? And also understanding their sentiments, their emotions, their requirement, because tomorrow these are the people who will help me to get the business, and which I have seen last about 2 years. So these are so we are creating touch points. We are also looking at automation. We are also making investment on digital transformation. But here, I have got only one piece which I have been debating, especially when people are talking about this automation and digital transformation. Still in India, a very large number of businesses are either from SME or MSME. So we must understand that every company cannot be as large as Maruti Suzuki or Tata or Hero MotoCorp with a very big cash surplus. So what is happening in this smaller organization? Number one, what I found is in last about 15 months or so, that HR and business people, they're occupied with many other priorities in life other than the automation or digitization, number one. Number two, I also realized and understood that they don't have a clear strategy and goal. So these are the pertinent questions which I would like to give it to the audience to think about. That first of all, the clear strategy and goal has to be there. Then I've also found that many organizations are struggling with the budget. That they are thinking they want to digitize, they want to do the transformation, but they don't have budget available. Or another interesting point which came out is that they have a lack of capability and expertise to lead the digital transformation. So these are the ground rule or the ground challenges which I found in the industry, especially in manufacturing industry. And we are struggling. A company like Unipart, we have got resources, we have got mindset, we want to take people along with us. We are doing it. We are also looking at making investment on the digital transformation. There are thousands and thousands of business where still this is a big challenge which needs to be answered. I hope I have justified your question.
Absolutely, very passionate. I think you were deep into it, shared so much. Audience is actually so happy. I can see that, How beautiful. Thank you, Anil. I know you had a hard
So,
stop.
Runa, my apology. I have got some
Yes.
meeting to attend. So, with your
Yeah, thank
permission,
you.
I would like
And
to take it.
thank you so much. Really enjoyed, and we'll touch base again, have more learnings from you even in this platform. And I could see Archana's raised hand. She has to not travel from Noida to Gurgaon. She's using her office for this webinar. What a hard, life we have. Some time we have to acknowledge that people think it's easy. It's not. So thank you, Anil. Thank you so much for your valuable time. We have to come back to you again after this session, because we have loads of such possibilities to keep talking to our audience through web, through various platforms. So now my next question to all of you, my dear speakers, because this question which has been put by Ankit has really moved me, that, right now we are hiring people, and also develop this capability, how to, hire, onboard, settle them down, engage them in this scenario wherein, we all are looking at how to digitize, how to utilize this new technology, digital platform. But what happens when it reverses? So are we seeing any such probabilities? So let's say the whole cycle, how you are managing from then and now to now and then. So Archana, would you like to start?
Yeah, I surely. But before that, I would also like to add to what Anil had said, and also what actually Sandhya mentioned, that definitely line managers have emerged as HR managers in the last 1 year. And everybody, I mean, I'll personally share the experience that we had here as a real estate industry, which has, which is a very manpower heavy because of the nature of the industry that we are in. And a lot of the people that we so-called categorize as the labor or migrant is actually employed in our organizations. So when this COVID happened, what was it that the organization could have done? So what we did in the second round, especially because the second round was so much harder, and the first round was more like a holiday, but the second round was very hard hitting because the technology had evolved and everybody was expected to work very long hours, and the severity was much higher. The severity of the disease was much higher. So what we created was a platform, and a platform where through technology, through this MS Forms that we created, we built a forum where anybody, and where it was the matter of a blue collar worker and he was not able to use the technology, then the site admin, which was the site HR, would be his go-to man and would reach out and inform the company on a daily basis. We would take a summary of how many people needed whether they needed medicines, whether they needed food, whether they needed oxygen, or whether they needed any kind of support. We had built teams, and the teams had come from the business. And we made sure that whatever was needed by those employees was provided from the closest site that we had to the closest, to the residence where the man was. It was a seamless exercise. It was all done from remote. Nobody was at site at that point because it was a complete shutdown, and that was the worst phase, end of April till mid-May. And every day, the management personally would take a stock of how many people have reverted, what is the need, who needs blood, who needs medicine, who needs food, who needs oxygen. And we at sites, we have these large oxygen cylinders, which we use for welding. So you need oxygen for welding purposes. We got all those oxygen cylinders revamped and refilled with oxygens that can be used for humans. And that was a different quality of oxygen. Through all the push-pull that we could with the administration, we tried to get these oxygen cylinders filled up. We had these cylinders delivered across NCR for wherever it was possible. We had some 30, 40 large, huge cylinders, and they would be delivered to employees' residents. The sensitivity that came about from the business, from the people who were leading till yesterday, they were doing something completely different on how do we make sure that our employees have food. So we had labor camps. Those labor camps had to be given food. There were labor living in that. There are hutments, and there are canteens and cafeterias that have to be operational, kitchens which have to be operational. Suddenly, the cook was unwell. The cook had gone home. So how does that hutman get food? It was such a large-scale, people-focused initiative that happened. And we are a very, very, construction real estate is considered to be very people intensive in terms of, if you look at the technology platforms, one would think that it is at the one end of the spectrum. But we really came about and used the technology to the best. We couldn't have physically been there, but there was in no way that even a single work person or anyone was left behind in case he or she had any need. So I think this whole thing about technology being used only for business suddenly saw a very different usage. And also the fact that what is going to happen in the future, what I am seeing as, also as a mother of two very grown-up children who are part of the workforce, is that for us it may be a question about how much technology and what technology. For them, technology is the way of life. They don't think beyond technology, and right now we are still going through this whole thing of coming out of this COVID scene, but there's going to be a complete paradigm shift 5 years hence, when this bunch of people who have only started their careers online and have been sitting at home and doing work for the last 1 year come actually into the helm at offices. They will not find it at all. For them, technology is the only way to operate. Whether they are friends, whether they're passing out parties, whether it is the class 10th, the class 12th having the farewells all online, all friends coming together online, jamming online, doing everything online. So for them, and what I notice in this generation is that collaboration is so beautifully ingrained. For our generation, it was competition. One had to get ahead. You had to push your peers to move ahead. For the generation which is entered and is entering the market, the job market today, they collaborate so beautifully, sitting in there. So one is specializing in one area, the other is specializing in another area. 5, 6 of them will come together and they'll bring about a product or a service which is for everybody, an open platform. Everybody can pull in. And, it's a very beautiful world I see of this people taking on this fear of technology, fear of competition is out. Now it's about, they themselves say it's all about collaboration. It's not about whether I will share this with this person or not share. I have to, because I'm in a particular skill. I can't do everything on my own. I need people to do things for me to be able to be effective. And I think the world will be a very different place. I've had my innings in the corporate era. I've seen it from 1990 when I started as a personal officer to now what has happened to HR is like one could have never imagined. I mean, the first time I saw a computer was in 1996, and we had to take turns to use that computer because there was just one computer per department, So that was the only place where there was an air conditioner, and it was so cold that you couldn't enter that office because it had to be kept in a almost cold storage to operate. So from that era to this era, we have lived through. The next is, I handed over this whole thing to the generation like Radhika and Sandhya, probably much younger than me. And the younger generation is going to be a technology revolutionary in themselves, and it'll be a much better world. What will happen 5 years later? Will we be asking people to rejoin? Will there be a platform where they don't need to be physically present yet be able to contribute? We don't know. Now we should live every day as it comes and just focus on making lives happier today. Tomorrow is not in our hands.
Very nice. I think I loved your last sentence. Let's do as it comes. And I think Samir was wondering in which generation I belong. because Archana mentioned about Sandhya and Radhika being next generation. And Samir, is in fact, that's exactly where I'm going to ask you this question, because, and it's absolutely out of syllabus because there is nothing written on the chat, but largely from your conversation I'm picking up. There is one set of people who are so tech savvy, they are youth, they are, like Archana mentioned about collaboration, and they are completely hands-on. In fact, every time I want to order something, I don't pick up my cell phone. I tell my son, please order kar do. So whether that's something we are getting onto habit, although he loves, mama, you started a career as a computer programmer, then you shifted to HR, and I'm very tech savvy otherwise. But the ease they have and the way we operate, there is an adaptability, and there is a as you said, it's given and it's already there as part of life. But so who's going to really face challenges? Is it something like all of them or all of us? Is it because of the infra? Is it because of the mindset? Is it because of something else? Samir, please throw some light. Again, my question to you is same. What is changed? Probably we have highlighted a lot from then and now. So maybe we can talk something now and then, because you are a very contemporary thinker, and I know you can definitely guide all of us and the audience about it. Samir, over to you.
So good, thank you, Runa. Just first of all, I was waiting for Archana to kind of take my name as well.
No, you are definitely next gen. I'm so sorry, I may have missed out, Samir.
Thank you.
You are next gen.
That's fine. That's fine. No, I'm not as young, Archana, as you would think, but but still, I was just waiting for you to take my name, but that's fine. So I think there is this dichotomy between the different generations, and that is the truth for many decades now. When Gen Y really came in, the debate was that Gen Y is very different, and they are getting into those swanky offices. Globalization was started to set in here in the country. When the millennials really came in, the whole bunch of stuff really changed at the workplace, because the millennials were coming with certain thought processes, and the workplaces changed a lot based on what is that which probably millennial would need. But now, organizations have started preparing themselves for Gen Z, and Gen Z are the one who've started entering the workforce. They are tech natives, and as Archana really mentioned, and as you also mentioned, Runa, there's no doubt that they have born and brought up with a lot of tech gadgets. They are very comfortable using all of them. They're very comfortable living with multiple applications. They know how to really operate the systems. They, my son is in class 10th right now, but I can tell you, he's doing what probably even I can't really think of doing right now. He's making games, and he's very comfortable with C++. He's kind of doing those online learning in Python. I can't think of learning a language that too online. So they're very comfortable with those methodologies. Workplaces would definitely undergo quite a shift, if not immediately, but over the period. And I'm very confident that that will happen. Gen Z will start challenging a lot of things which are currently happening, a lot of things which millennials really did, and there are differences in the behaviors which they are demonstrating very clearly. Millennials were the one who spent a lot of money. Like millennials are like us. We've spent a lot of money because we came out of something wherein we've not really seen much of luxury. And then we got exposed to a lot of luxurious products. Gen Z are thinkers. They do not want to really spend a lot of money on things like real estate. They don't want to acquire assets and get stuck with those assets. They would experiment with things like if they can borrow, use, and then predominantly move out. So they will start questioning. They will challenge a lot of those mindsets which are very orthodox in nature. they will not be comfortable working in a very traditional kind of an environment. So organizations will not have any choice but to really study what is that which is required to prepare themselves for future and ensure that they are making the right sort of changes at their workplace. So that's about Gen Z. But the question which Ankit has asked, that's a very, very interesting question. And it says how HR professional will take care of the workforce, which were hired only for work from home now and cannot come to office once the business will shift to work from office. How do we really deal with that kind of a situation? My question to Ankit is that why do you really need that person to come to office? Right? If in case it really works for your client, if in case it works for the team, if in case the managers are comfortable, this person to continue to work from home, you don't really need this person in office, and it would work beautifully well. In that context, AECOM globally has started designing a program called Freedom to Grow. And it is a culture change journey. Of course, it is still evolving. It has not been finalized as yet. But it is about finding balance and flexibility they need to do their best. What is that which work for the individual is what the mantra is. The mantra is, if it works for you, if it works for your client, then it works for AECOM as well. And they need to choose their styles, not just freedom to really operate from wherever they want to. Freedom to be themselves. You don't have to worry about what should I wear, how should I look, should I be on video, and should I be video ready all the time in all the meetings. Just be yourself, whatever work for you. Decide what time you really want to work on. So just challenging 9 to 5 notions completely under this freedom to grow program. Place, of course, is a major element. They can work from anywhere, of course, within the state or within the country, wherein the taxations really do not change, and we don't have to change a lot when it comes to the administration and the compliance. The task, basically freedom to decide what suits them and how they really want to conclude that task, whom they really want to work with. Work style, they can choose. They will have complete freedom to choose their own work style. How do they want to communicate? And they can choose their own channel. They want to use Teams, they want to use telephone, they want to be on any other platform to communicate with people. So that is complete freedom. And then, of course, the last thing is think and challenge as to what is that which the individual does in that kind of a situation. So total freedom is what we're talking about. Of course, these initiatives would evolve in many years, and they're not like you issue a guideline and then you start implementing. It doesn't really happen that way. You deal with a lot of mindsets. You have to manage the change in a very dramatic manner, so to say. And each country has its own challenges. China does not want to look at work from home or remote working as one of the options, because they work very beautifully when they are in office.
Yeah.
Romania, you have to actually put that in the employment contract that we would allow you to work from home. Poland is very, very different. So and so forth. Many other countries has to really adopt those local guidelines. So, Ankit, one question is that why do you really need this person? If in case you really need this person in office, then I think my suggestion would be not to hire this person at this point in time, because then relocation would become a constraint at a later stage.
I think Ankit may had a very broader question, which I'm also kind of putting across to Sandhya and Radhika, because all of you are very different, deflection because of your industry, your experience, your wisdom is from a certain set, whereas Sandhya and Radhika are again from a very absolutely, if I may say, different, quite distance as an industry, if I look at both of your organization. So I have now a few minutes, and we might want to do justice to both of you. Please share, even if we go a little overboard on time to conclude. So I think, again, the same question that we have talked about first wave, second wave, and somewhere we have around us as a halo effect, the third wave and hybrid, and not moving to plants or any office, but remaining in the work from home scenario. I think a lot of such probabilities are there, a lot of some guessworks are happening, but nevertheless, both of you must be trying your organization to be prepared for future. So I think last comments from both of you, and then I will hand it over to Ritesh. And considering that after 3 speakers, I'm coming back to you with questions, do justice, spend some, as much as time you would like to be, even if within the boundaries. So who is starting?
Yeah. Thank you, Runa. I will first take up Ankit's question. As you also mentioned that he must be talking into a different sense as well. I would again say it is not happening just now. When I was working into the healthcare industry, we had the zonal offices, but there were salespeople who used to work into remotes or who used to work into the different states where we didn't had any office. So it was a kind of work from home for them, even if they were going to field. HR still used to serve them remotely only. So I think it's not a big job. The only thing is we need to connect with them. The mode of connect may change, that instead of having a personal meeting into the induction, we may be having a Zoom meeting or a MS Teams meeting. So keep the main objective and at the same time, change the mode. That's it. It's very simple. Second question has come from somebody. They asked that how to retain the workmen in this particular situation. Workmen, yes, I have personally experienced their expectations are not very high. The very first thing is problem. If we listen to their problems, 50% of the problem is already solved. And second is, even if we are going to help out one person into this particular situation, like in COVID, I have seen that if 3 people are being affected into one particular zone and we are taking good care of them, it is going to put a very positive impact on rest of the 100 people into that particular zone or factory. So how we are managing the situation and responding to it, not just reacting to it, is going to help us out. So that's on both of these questions. The third one, which Archana and Samir have taken, is that the upcoming generation, I have a worry over here. Too much of technology can also be bad. A kid can never grow unless he is not going to feel that warmth of mother, the love of their parents, or the care of the parents. The same way an employee, if they are going to start their career online and going to shift into their jobs also online, maybe they will start becoming very isolated into their real world. So that's my question, and I will leave all of you with this thought that we need to think about it.
Absolutely. I'm with you. In fact, I want to discuss with Ritesh and take it as a debate next time. And of course, you all can participate in some manner. So we'll see that. And Radhika, the closing response to the question, and of course, some deliberations, some question I have put up. So cover everything as much as possible, Radhika.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, again. So if we talk about in general, like Samir very correctly said, that why do we want even those people if they've been performing from home and the work has been the goal has been able to be achieved by the person in the organization. But if I were to individually talk about our organization, it's more to do with organizations planning about a particular role, how they foresee that role growing, and how do they want to work. So we definitely, obviously, in these testing times, we also work from home, and each role had to work from home, apart from obviously the administration department, which has to do with facilities. So how we've rolled out offers is obviously a hybrid model that, as per the time, we'll switch to either work from office and work from home. But again, if somebody has been given offers with a confirmation that it'll be always work from home, so I think it is best to keep up to the promise to the candidate and now an employee in any of those organizations who offered such a such an option. So it really depends upon how companies have planned to cater to roles, because while the discussion of generations came in, employees who've been into a certain role for years, it was easier for them to kind of work from home and manage, and people who were relatively new in a working world, it got very difficult for them. And as Archana very correctly mentioned, it is a point of worry for me as well for the generations to come, because you learn a lot when you work in group, remotely over the calls, and solutions are definitely great to cater to the situations we've been handling past year and a half. But I think it is very important to work together to learn from each other. So it has to be hybrid. And with our organization, if I were to kind of sum it up, because from our perspective, it's a very brief answer, I would say it has to be hybrid, because work from home 100% cannot really be a solution. Though we witnessed it became a solution for some time now, but for the longer term, it has to be a hybrid working. And as an individual and as an organization, we've only rolled out offers for a hybrid model, not 100%. So yeah.
Thank you, Radhika. In fact, the hybrid model always existed, because I am from IT industry. So we had loads of people, application support team and very other team, who work from home because they were 24/7. So probably the percentage of people working from home will increase, and we will actually have that mindset that as long as it's required, go to the point, because salespeople can never work from home. They have to have that, again, customer touch. We always talk about employee touch, personal touch, but there is a customer touch. I think they are always going to do that. In fact, they're doing now, even in lockdown period. Somewhere they're meeting people. So I think fantastic points, shared by all of you. Radhika, you're talking about having meeting conversation with your employees. I think we had an absolutely meaty conversation here, and there's so much is takeaways, especially considering your background. I'm so thankful right from my heart. I think, look at Archana, she deliberated the whole thing, did justice to the program. Now she's in her car going home, and it's far off. She's going to reach at least 8:39 and whatnot hours. But thank you so much, Archana, for making it happen. And in spite of Anil had a pressing need, he changed his time. Almost we're losing him today, and he changed his time. And then he said, Runa, I'm feeling so awkward that I have to go at 6:30. Look at the commitment. I know that all, Sandhya, Radhika, Sameer, all of you had so much work to do. You have so much, happening in your organization, but then you had come out on time, and 1.5 year program doesn't mean 1.5. You actually had to log in 15 minutes prior to the session to settle down. So practically we are taking your 2 hours and ensuring our participants get great, inputs. And we will continue this journey. And the best part about digital HR is that we keep this live for our audience. We, kind of share in all possible social media, so that people who join today, definitely their questions are important, their interaction very important. But I think the learning will go to larger community. So thank you all for making it, possible. So over to you, Ritesh.
Wow, I must say, it's really wow. What a great sessions! This 1.5 hour, how it went, couldn't understand. Like, I was completely by heart, I was completely into subject, and I think I can say for the audience also, it must be a great learning, and what a engaging deliberations that is happening. It's completely a great justice to the topic that we has been organized, and I must thanks to all stalwarts and the speakers that you have deliberated your blend of thoughts about this particular topic. And HR agility has been discussed in terms of the kind of learning, change management, the digitization, the adoption of the technology. I must say it is a great takeaways that audience must have received from the speakers. If we talk about Anil sir, the example of that extra discount and it connected with the extra attraction to the all stakeholders, whether it's an employee or whether it's customers or colleagues, basically, how it should be, given to the how it can be implemented to the organizations. It's a great learning that I must say. If I talk about Archana ji, like she talk about the technology, the facility, and the skilling and reskilling in the in her opening remarks. It's really a great takeaway for us, because these are the pointers. It really helps for the whenever we talk about the HR agility. Samir sir, you had given the in opening remarks the great those three pillars, that autonomy, to empowering the people and employees, basically, and flexibility in works and the structure, as well as the decisions, ideas, and the speed to adopt. These are really a great learning pointers for us, and I'm sure it's for the audience also. Radhika ji has given the great insight about the L&D and the technology adoptions, AI, chatbot. These are the things, definitely empowers the HR agility, and ultimately it converts to the business transformations and business sustainability. So thank you so much, Radhika ji, for giving this particular input. And Sandhya ji is given the great thought about the change management and adopting the right culture for transparency with the HR, and the points that she has got given the line, transforming, we will get back to you. That particular statement, like, how quickly the HR is becoming agile, and given this particular addressing the employees and people solutions by this, it gives great learning overall. And I must say that everyone has I can say it's given the real pulse of the wisdom on this particular topic, and we really enjoyed it, and I must say our audience must have also. So thank you so much to everyone. Thank you so much, Runa ji, for wonderful moderations, and it's really helped to everyone. So great. Thank you, audience. Thanks for taking out your time and attending this particular webinar. I'm sure my team must have given the feedback link over here, so you can give your feedback. This will help us to improve our delivery, as well as understand about your thought processes for our upcoming webinars. We are organizing every month. We are organizing webinars on a particular topic, and your inputs and feedback will really help us. And please like, share our social media handles, where you can get updated about the informations about the HR world, what we are organizing here. Recently we have organized one masterclass on HR analytics, so my team must share these details to you guys, so you can see whether it is interesting for the HR analytics for you. So you can definitely opt for this particular part. And yes, the last I must also talk about the editorial piece. So Digital HR is also inviting the editorial piece in terms of the articles, blogs, stories from the thought leaders. And if you have any kind of suggestions, you please write to us, and we can definitely again publish it for the HR fraternity. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Samir ji, Archana ji, Radhika ji, Sandhya ji, Runa ji. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Thanks you.
Thank you very much, Runa and Ritesh and Pamela. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thanks.
Thanks, Archana. So Sandhya also is now going back home. So thank you so much for your valuable time. And Radhika, Samir, all of you had done a great contribution to the community. So we're very, very grateful to you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely
day. Thank you, Runa. Thank you, Ritesh.